Hey geometry students, Mr. Zacek back and better than ever. We are looking here at lesson 5, which is going to start constructions. Now, when we're doing constructions, we use two tools. We use one tool is our compass, and the other tool is our straight edge. So I'm going to pull those here onto the screen. And in this lesson, we're going to do the four kind of building blocks of constructions. These are the four simplest ones, the ones we need to know, and we can build a lot of our other constructions off of them. So the first one is we're going to construct a congruent line segment. Now the first thing I want to go over is that when we're doing constructions, it says with a compass and a straight edge. What that means is we don't measure with the ruler, we measure with the compass. And here is how we measure. We open the compass up to the length of whatever we're measuring. And so we have the compass point here that you can see and the compass pencil that you can see. So we're going to open it up the length of AB, and what we're going to do is we're going to swing an arc, and we've just measured AB. And now we're going to come down here and we're going to put our compass on this arc and we're going to swing that arc, and we just created a congruent segment. It's that simple. And if we had to label it, I don't know, whatever we want to call it, H, call this one HP. Okay, HP. So I'm using the mouse. My writing's a little off there with that. Okay, so just again, we'll do one more. If we're going to do CD, does my compass open up? Let's see if it opens up that length. Oh, close, close, close. All right. Oh, yeah, I got it. There we go. Okay, so that's the length of CD. Come down here, and we have a congruent segment. And if we wanted to double that segment, we would simply move it out here. We'd have to extend our segment out and swing another arc. Okay, so there's one you can practice with EF. Go ahead and make that congruent. All right, now here we go. We're on to constructing a congruent angle. So again, we're going to need a compass and we're going to need our straight edge, and I'm just going to bring those in here. Sometimes that straight edge tool is a little wonky for working on here, so we'll work that out. All right, here's our angle that we have up here, BAC. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to put the compass point at the vertex of the angle, and I want to open this compass up to some point where when I swing an arc, it will hit both rays. So do you see how we did that? Now I call this a reference arc. So what we have here is now I'm going to come down to this ray that's already drawn D. I'm going to keep the same compass setting, and I'm going to swing a reference arc. When we're working with angles, we always need that reference arc. Now I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to measure how wide it is, how far it is across that reference arc. So I'm going to bring my compass up here, and I'm going to swing along. There we go. We're going to come down here, and I'm going to just copy that same distance along the reference arc. So there it is. Okay, so now we come down, and then I would take my straight edge, and if I can figure out how to get this thing to turn, we will do it with turning. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to bring my straight edge, and I'm going to connect this point now with the intersection point right there. Ooh, okay. You could obviously do that much quicker if you're doing it by hand. And then I'm going to take my pencil, and we're just going to go right along here. And what have we done? Voila! We've got ourselves a congruent angle to the original angle BAC. So we started off, we drew a reference arc, we had the same reference arc, we then measured along the reference arc, we copied that measurement, that intersection became where we drew that new ray through. Okay, now usually, so let's do one more, just like with the other one, to get you some more practice. This is with an obtuse angle. So I'm just going to use that same opening that I had right there, and I'm going to swing an arc. Now obviously this one's a little bit bigger, so when I bring it over here to this other line, I'm going to have to swing a longer arc because it's open longer. All right, and then we go over here onto this, and I'm going to open my compass to find how far open this one is. Okay, let's see what we got. Whoop. Sometimes that's a little bit off on there. And there's a little bit of inaccuracy with the compass, and that's okay. So it intersects right through there. And then now we've got that point of intersection. I'll just kind of identify it for you. Right there is that point, and here is our vertex. And so I'm gonna, just for sake of time, I'm just gonna go ahead and connect it here. I'm not gonna bring the ruler or the straight edge over, which is what you would do, but I'll just use the line tool. And there we go. We've got ourselves a congruent angle. So again, here's another one for you to practice for a congruent angle. Let's move on to our third construction. Okay, our third construction here is we're going to construct a perpendicular bisector. So the word perpendicular means it's going to form a right angle, and bisector means it's going to cut it in half. I like to call this construction the surfboard, and I'll show you why. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my compass point on one of the endpoints, and I'm going to open the compass more than halfway, and at that point I'm going to swing an arc. Okay, I want to keep the same compass setting, but now I'm going to put the compass point over here on B on the other side, and now we're going to swing another arc. Okay, now there's our surfboard. So with our straight edge, we're going to come up to this spot here, and with that straight edge we're going to try to connect those 2 points. And again, if I can get this to turn, I will. Okay, there we go. All right, so over here we put our straight edge on, connect those 2 points, and we are going to bring that down. And we have just constructed the perpendicular bisector of that segment. So this forms a right angle, and whoops, I want a pen there. And then the 2 halves of this are going to be congruent to each other. So this part will be congruent to this other part. Now the way that you would check this if you were looking at your own paper is you would come over, or if a teacher were grading it, they would just come and put their compass setting, and they would say, okay, is that the same distance as this over here? They're looking for your construction marks and for that to go on there. All right, so we've got a surfboard. Let's do one more down here. Maybe we'll do DE. Again, I want my compass to be open more than halfway. We swing our arc here. Now you don't really need to swing the whole arc. I'll show you how to do this on the other side. You really only need to swing kind of the top part of it. So sometimes people will draw this, and we don't need that whole thing. It'll work. Get that out of the way. If we bring it down here and we just do those points where they're going to meet up. Okay, so then we take that, use your straight edge, and we want to connect those 2 points right there, and we've just constructed again the perpendicular bisector. It's nice if when you're doing this you put that right angle symbol in. That helps you understand that it's perpendicular, and you can do this to show that those 2 parts are bisected. That's not essential, but it's one thing that you can do just to demonstrate that you understand that fully. Okay, our last construction for this lesson is we're going to construct the angle bisector. And so again, with the angle, the first thing that we're going to do with an angle is we're going to put our compass point at the vertex, and we're going to swing a reference arc here. So let me get it on there. Okay, it doesn't really matter where it is. It just has to hit the 2 rays. Okay, now what happened is when we did this, it created a we have our reference arc. So label the two intersection points on the line D and E. So I want to show you that we have now an intersection here of, we'll call this one D, and this one down here E. Okay, I'm using the mouse, so my writing is a little bit off. Okay, so now that we have that, then we're going to take and we're going to put the compass point up here, and we're going to do kind of like half of a bisector, half of a surfboard, bottom half. So we come down here, and we flip it over, and we come down here with our compass. Okay, so that I got that intersection. All right, now that point right there is the point that I want to go through with my straight edge. And again, I'm not going to use the straight edge tool because it's a little clunky on here, but you would line a straight edge up and connect those 2 points, and we've just bisected that angle. So what that looks like, again, from how are we going to kind of grade this? Number one, we're looking for the construction markings, but two, when I take my compass and I come over here, is it the same opening along your reference arc? So there we go, we've got it, the same opening along it. And let's do one more. Now this time I want to do the obtuse angle. So we'll swing that arc. The thing with the obtuse angle is very often after you swing your reference arc, you have to adjust the compass, otherwise you won't get the intersection. Usually you have to open it up a little bit more, whereas when it's an acute angle, you don't necessarily have to make that adjustment. You can use the same compass setting. So here we swing that again, and now we come over, and we would use a straight edge, but I'm just going to use this segment tool here. And there we go, we have bisected the angle. So those are the 4 basic constructions that we have. Congruent segment, congruent angle, bisecting angle, and perpendicular bisector. Now, the chances of that, these are simple. We're going to do more complex ones, but we have to master these ones first, and we have several homework assignments and labs that are going to work on us mastering these and then taking that even to the next step and doing some more complex ones. So when you get to assignment 5, one of those you may have a question, you have to ask me. I can show you how to do that in class. All right, thank you very much. Have a good one.